Thank you so much for being here. We are alive and well. We're doing it right here on the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors and this beautiful outdoor playground of a world that we live in. We're doing this live now. We're going to do it every day, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock. We're going daily with this daily outdoor awesome content coming straight at you right into your social media feeds. So do me a favor, share this out. Explain to people, hey, this is just a guy that likes to talk about the outdoors and kind of talk like we do, right? Not if you don't throw this lure, you're such a no. That's not what you're going to get from me, and we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. Because today, it's still almost licking wounds, soothing of the wounds with the commission rules on auction tags. Now, the commission has ruled, and they ruled that we're going to finish out this season with an auction tag. We're going to have auction tags. And then next year, I think that there might be one. I still have to dig into this and what it is. And then, then we'll go at least 2 years following that without the ability for the WCOs, the wildlife conservation organizations, to auction off a tag. And let me tell you something. This was an absolute explosion, especially from the critter groups. I had friends where I was thinking, I might want to go check on, because the reaction was that of, and just give me a little bit of a runway here. The reaction was a bad breakup. It seemed that this was the perfect marriage or the perfect relationship between WCOs and the Arizona Game and Fish Commission. And I can say Arizona Game and Fish Commission, for those of you who are out of town, we are the very first spot to do this. And if you missed my conversation right after the meeting and the ruling with Commissioner Guggenauer, please go back and check it out on the podcast, or for YouTube, it should be right there on the same page. You can check it out from their standpoint. Okay. So going back to this relationship, it was a tens of millions of dollars relationship. This was big. This was a big relationship, and everything seemed to be going well. Everything seemed to be going swimming. But one of the members of the relationship, in this case, the Arizona Game and Fish Commission, decided, you know what? We're going to change things up. I want something different. And I'm oversimplifying this, and I hope I'm not insulting anybody in the process. But if I do, it's my job. Whatever. So the WCOs, the wildlife conservation organizations, we call them critter groups. So we'll just call them critter groups. The critter groups are like, woo, I thought you and me, we had this thing. We were good. We were making money. All the money went directly to on the ground conservation. And if it was an elk tag, it went to elk habitat. If it was a deer, it went to deer habitat, ram, et cetera, et cetera. Everything was good. Well, why do you want something else? And it came in a boom. And then, boom, Splitsville. Divorce. It was over. It was done. And left the critter groups to think, well, how do I move on? So when you think about it in that context, I think it's a little easier to understand that the WCOs are pretty hurt by this. They're hurt emotionally by this. And I'm not insulting anyone here. They have a problem with it. And because that's where the funding for their major restoration and conservation projects come from. This is, and Robert, I know my beard needs some love. It's the lighting, I'm telling you, believe it or not. We'll get to that in a while. But this was a big breakup. And so the wounds they're tender, they're open. It's tough to deal with right now, because it seems as if the commission, one side of this relationship, has just moved on with another person named Raffle, or not Raffle, just not auction. Okay. That person's name is not auction. So I do completely understand the executive directors and the volunteers and the office staff, whatever, all these big organizations that have benefited from these auction tags. And when I say benefited, I'm not talking about monetarily. I'm talking about benefited so their programs are funded. So their restoration and conservation efforts are funded. That's a big deal. That really is a big deal. So look, there was a lot of fallout over the last couple of days, and it's okay. Again, if you've missed this, if you have missed any of the conversation I had with Jim Guggenauer, the commissioner, he was the one that brought forth the motion to suspend auction tags here in Arizona. And again, we're the first state to do this. He called it the tip of the spear. Well said. That is exactly what this is. So Commissioner Guggenauer had a great conversation with him. It's a respectful conversation. And I get a little pushback from that, by the way, because I wasn't as hot and fired up. Look, I don't have a dog in this hunt. I go and volunteer with some of these organizations, and it's fun and it's wonderful. As far as that organization finding a new funding source or way to move those tags in a way that helps them fund or at least gets them the same dollar amount to fund their programs, I can help out with some ideas, and I can help out with some advertising, and I can help out with some press. I can help out in any way I can. But as far as me losing what I've had, I did that in December. So I want you to know, WCOs, I am on your side. I understand. I spent 15 years in terrestrial radio. 15 years. Boom, gone in an instant like that. Days before Christmas, gone. So now here you are on Monday after the commission meeting on Friday thinking it's gone. What? Everything's different now. And for me, same thing. I'm not, what do you mean I heard another guy? Why are people calling me telling me they heard another guy in my time slot? Yeah. So what you do is what I did, because you have to, because there's no other options. You have to lick your wounds and move forward and find a way to move forward and find those revenue sources. Like I have to find new revenue sources to pay my bills. I need to find new ways just to be and do what I do and do what I've earned, I think, in the last 15 years. And so the WCOs, now you got to. That is what you have to do. You just have to figure it out, because that's just the way it is. Like I said, it's like a bad breakup. The other person has just moved on. So, okay, it's time to, pick up the pieces, dust yourself off, pull up your bootstraps and just get going. And I think that's where we are. And I had as this is the first show we're doing daily at 11 o'clock, I had a whole show rundown. And in our business show rundown is the topics we are going to discover. Really cool stuff. That's holding off till tomorrow, because this was a huge topic over the weekend. I was celebrating St. Patrick's Day with some sausages and cabbage and all. I was cooking, and bzz, 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 phone just going off. And I'm like, okay, so I guess this is something we're going to talk about tomorrow morning. This is something we're going to change the show sheet. It's going to be all this. So let's get in this. We mentioned a few times in the conversation with Jim Guggenauer. We mentioned a few times the presentation by Clay Crowder from your Arizona Game and Fish Department. I have that right here in front of me. And what I want to do is I want to talk numbers. I really do. I want to talk numbers of what we're going after, because the major tags that we're talking about are sheep, elk, and deer. That's it. There's 10 total species. Okay, 30 tags. So of the 30 tags, 9, well, actually not one, because one goes to the Arizona Big Game Super Raffle. So we're talking about 6 tags. This whole freak out is about 6 tags. Now understand, they're big. But let me tell you what I mean by this, because we, again, have 10 big game species that the commission gives tags for, 10 big game species in this beautiful state that we live in. Good grief, are we just so lucky. It's just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. I love the state so much. I'm a Southern California transplant, not going back. No way, no day. But let's get back to the numbers here. And I'm going to pull them up right in front of me. Let's go to turkey first. So of the 3 tags, starting in 2010 all the way to 2023, 2010 to 2023, we have the 2 non-auction tags. Those are a raffle or some sort of a competition or something like that. I don't know, maybe arm wrestling or slapping. Who knows? Turkey, about $10,000 on the non-auction tags. Just a couple $1,000s on the auction tags. Averaging what I see here on this chart is probably about $5,000 to $6,000 a auction turkey tag brings in. Of the non-auction tags, majority of them well over $2,000, some over $30,000. Non-auction. Okay? So when the commission made a decision and made a choice, as far as I'm concerned, how I see it from my perch, is that they saw, okay, of the 10, 3 we have issue with, but of the 7 of 10, holy mackerel, look at this. Non-auction tags, are making more money, wildly more money. So I understand, because again, they're looking at a totality of the 10 species they have tags for. But then we're going to talk some super big numbers. So let me go this. So turkey was up first. Bison. Bison you would think is just, nope, not really. It really isn't. The allocation since 2010 has been 2 auction tags, 1 non-auction tag. Historically, the auction tags are around the $20,000 to $30,000 mark, kind of doing this. Okay, 20, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of scratch. Nothing to sneeze at here. But the non-auction tags went up to 75,000 at one point. There's a 70,000 in there, and I don't have my glasses on, so I'm just yeah. So the average, I would say, we're talking about almost a $5,000 to $10,000 difference above auction tax. So again, commission looking at this as a whole and its entirety. And I know if you're part of the WCOs and the critter groups, you're firing off at me right now. I'm going to get to the some of the things that you had an issue with in our conversation with Jim Guggenauer. I'm going to get to it. Just stay with me here. Again, we've been doing this 11 years. Gang, you know you need to give me a long runway. I will get there. Let's get to whitetail deer. Whitetail deer, not a huge thing, but I'm going to tell you, the trend lines for the auction tags and the non-auction tags, in this case, there were 4, are the same. There's no difference. The highest was in 2021, and that was a non-auction tag over $60,000. Okay, again, looking at all of the species going all 10, this is what we're dealing with. So, okay, we're going to scoot along here, and they're just, it's bouncing like a chart does, right? Like the chart does, and they just bounce on the same trend. Unfortunately, and this is something I've noticed in each and every one of these slides, it's trending downward as we speak on both auction and non-auction tags, because I mean the economy is what the economy is. It's just tough. Bear. Yep, the bear tag, the commission bear tag. Buy in. I mean, it's not even a close competition. Non-auction tags outperform auction tags by thousands and thousands. And by the way, a bear tag, I think the biggest auction went for like it's about 12, I'd say about $13,000 right there. That's it. But then again, that goes back to the opportunity for all, right? So I'm going to come to the other side here, and I'll show you this. So if you look at it from the other side, it's the opportunity for all, like $13,000. That's a lot of money, but it's sure as heck nothing I can't just take out of my house, or I have an opportunity to do that. That's not a millionaire tag. That's not a multi-millionaire tag. Someone can save up for a few years and auction and go get an auction bear tag, right? So there was opportunity for all in that too, just not for the sheep, the elk, and the mule deer. So bear crushed, absolutely crushed. Last year was the first time that one of the non-auction tags went for less than the auction tag, and that was only, like I said, that was only a $13,000 tag. Mountain lion. Yeah, did you know we had all these auction tags? Didn't know, did you? Yeah, as we're going through, I was reminded, something? I forgot we have a Big Ten. We just do. And they're absolutely amazing. Mountain lion, again, we are the same as we were with bear. There's just this nice little up and down bouncing. But if you go dollar for dollar, non-auction tags are kicking the tuchus out of auction tags. They just really are. They're making more money. So in everything that we've seen so far, auction tags are non-auction tags are winning. Non-auction tags are bringing in more than auction tags, right? So if we go to all non-auction tags on these others, the 7, the lesser sought after 7, that revenue might make a pretty big dent in making up for the spend of conservation in its totality. And again, I understand that these have to be animal specific for conservation and restoration. What happened with this man? I would love to ask Clay about this next time I see him. He put this together, Clay Crowder, with the Arizona Game and Fish Department. Apparently in 2011, somebody really, and I mean really, wanted a mountain lion tag. Holy mackerel. The average mountain lion tag is going for less than 10 grand. So we have $4 grand, $5 grand. Just we don't have a lot of mountain lion, basically spending enthusiasts. You ready for this? In 2011, okay, understand, the non-auction tags, even the auction tags, all of them are bouncing around and under the $10,000 line. 2011, It looks like it says where this dot is lands about $38,000. I want to know the story behind that. I want to know who the heck bought that tag and why he or she was so fired up about taking a mountain lion. I don't know, maybe back to one of the preserves or something, or one of the mountains, and maybe a mountain lion took their dog or something like that. They're like, I will get my revenge. I would. I'll keep the jokes here. Javelina is up next. If I can, my fumble fingers can get us there. Javelina, I got to tell you, non-auction, again, absolutely destroying, crushing auction tags. Auction tags bounced around maybe, $800-900, $1,000 maybe for an auction tag. And then there's one non-auction. I believe this has to do with the combining of the of several species into one winner. Went to over $20,000. So all those are non-auction tags of $20,000. Pronghorn, speed goat. Yeah, a lot of people that aren't from Arizona are shocked as I keep going through this list here, that thinking, whoa, there's no way Arizona has those. Yes, we do. We are the most biodiverse state that doesn't touch a coast in the nation. So most biodiverse non-coastal state. I'll get it right one time soon. Let me. Oh! Did you? I don't have my coffee here, but I think I do. All right, we'll do some water. So maybe water will get this straightened out for me. Pronghorn, same thing. Auction outperformed non-auction a couple of times, and they're all about the same thing. They really are. I mean, they're within thousands. It just kind of bounces along the same thing. It's like either your auction or your non-auction. And guess what? You're going to get the same result. Now, understand, these are not the big three. So here we go. Let's get into bighorn sheep. Bighorn sheep, we're getting into the big three now. This is a big deal because this is where a lot of people are fired up and a lot of people are like biting their nails, right? And thinking, how are we going to make up this funding? Because historically, non-auction tags for bighorn sheep in Arizona have gone from anywhere from $110,000, and last year went for $90,000, so it didn't get over 100. But the vast majority stayed over $100,000, right? Between $100,000 and $200,000. Historically, auction tags for the bighorn sheep, somewhere just shy of $400,000 in 2016, and stayed around the $200,000 to $300,000 line ever since. That is a staggering difference now that we're talking about six figures as a difference between auction tags and a difference between non-auction tags. Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's get to elk. No, we just go one more here. So let's get to elk. Ain't even close. So you can tell the critter group that was most in my ear. Not even, I mean, boom. There are several years, and then no, I'm taking it back. Okay. There are several years where I'm looking on this chart here. There are several years where auction tags and non-auction tags, same. So 2011, same. 2014, same. 2015, same. 2017, same. Yeah. But there is 2013, which was the non-auction tag brought in $110,000. The auction tag brought in $400,000. That's a big difference. Gang, that's a big difference. Elk, non-auction tags, it's almost flatline. Flatline, just it's the same amount about every year. It's around $100,000 plus, just around there. You kind of margin of error. Elk, auction tags are probably averaging over $250,000. That's where we see the division. Let's get to mule deer. Mule deer, it just this is our final our final tag. Mule deer, around $200,000 a tag for auctions, $200,000 to $400,000. Just kind of bounced in the $200,000 to $400,000 range. Last year shot up to let me see, $700,000. $700,000. So that's what it shot up to. Then and then auction tags are all except for 1 year sub 200,000. So what are we going to do? How in the world do we make that up? How in the world do we do that? How do we make all that up? How? Exactly. That's the problem. And that's what all the WCOs are freaked out about right now is how do we make that up? If we know historically what the auction tags bring and the non-auction tags bring, we know that historically, then how are we going to turn these auction tags into non-auction tags and make as much as the auction tag? Woo. Okay. There's the numbers behind it all again. Thank you, Clay Crowder, for that, because I got to tell you, that was a lot to put together. That guy, and I commend him for doing this. And Robert, I do agree with you, and a lot of people are saying the same thing. Thanks for chiming in on here. If it ain't whatever happened, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The broke part of this is, and according to Jim Guggenauer, he's 20% of your Arizona Game and Fish Commission. According to him, and according to, I believe, Commissioner Marsha Petrie Sue as well, is it's broken because it doesn't fall in line with the North American model of wildlife conservation, specifically Tenet 4, which says opportunity for all. So these 3 tags per year, 6 tags per year, aren't essentially up for everyone or up for all in this situation, because it's basically for super, super rich folks. So they say it doesn't follow in the model, shouldn't be here. We can find the funding somewhere else. And again, everybody just absolutely blows up. And so what are the potential pitfalls? What are the potential pitfalls? And there's 2 major potential pitfalls that I see. Rich Uncle Moneybags is going to take his bag of dough and go to a different state. And that money should stay right here in Arizona for on the ground conservation efforts. There are very strict rules in these tags. That should say he or she is taking their money and dipping. The Jimmy Johns of the world taking their money, bounce. So think about that. It's not just the 700 or it's not the $400,000 tag. It's not just the $400,000 tag. It's the tens of thousands in gear and guide and local benefit of and I'm just using this because I just know his name and you know his name, Jimmy John of the sandwich shops, coming in with their entourage and throwing a bunch of money up in Flagstaff and Williams. And there's a ripple effect that is going to happen. There's a ripple effect that's going to be a pitfall. So we've got to look out for them, right? And not to step in those things. And so the other potential pitfall I see is volunteerism. These volunteers, these tens of thousands of volunteers, those that are just on the ground conservationists here in Arizona, that are at the restoration projects, that are at the mending fence line projects, that are out cleaning up the desert, they're the ones that are there because of this funding. And then the funding goes to the critter groups or the WCOs, and the food is paid for, and maybe lodging in some cases, however it is. These volunteers are kind of hosed now. They're like, okay, so we're gonna have to kick in for our own. We're gonna have to now pay to be a volunteer. I don't know how advantageous that is. They kind of felt like they were on the one side of that breakup. Wait a second, this is we're the ones conservation. I would say of the 500,000 tags that Game and Fish sells, not tags, excuse me, licenses that Game and Fish sells, maybe 100,000 know that this is even going on. But those are the 100,000 that are on the ground. Those are the 100,000 that are doing it, that are at the banquets, that are donating money, that are putting in money for bucket raffles and donating prizes. And a big thank you to Jason from Caney Coolidge, by the way, caneycoolidge.com. Get over there, use the code GOSHOW. You're going to get some dough off your order. They just volunteered. Hello. They just donated a really cool Caney cooler for wildlife for tomorrow to be able to give away, raffle off at the expo, at the Game and Fish Expo, which is this coming weekend. We will be chatting about that right here on the show. So those are the potential pitfalls. There is a potential upside. Let's think about this. Necessity is the mother of invention, period. Like, you just don't know. You just don't know. I've had guests on this show that do these kinds of things in raffles and contests and all that. There are options. There are different ways. What if that way gets better? What if instead of 700,000 for a mule deer tag, maybe it's 800,000, maybe it's 750. Maybe it's dead on same. Maybe one of the non-auction tags goes for 500 and the other one goes for 400, and boom, we're at 900. Hey, let's dance. It can happen. And There is a possibility for it to happen. Is it totally lame that we're all stuck in this situation right now? Yes. Change is not easy. And the commission has pointed our conservation efforts here in Arizona into the pool of change. So we just have to change. We have to adapt. We have to grow, and we have to find the potential upsides in all of this, because this is what we do. It's what you do. It's what I do. We are conservationists. We are frontline on the ground conservationists. So let's figure it out. And again, I'm telling you, this is a ironclad offer. I will do anything I can, marketing. I can do anything I can in media. I will do everything I can to help this succeed, because you know what? We don't have options. We have to succeed. It's like that breakup. You have to move on. You have to pick up the pieces and you have to move on. I appreciate you hanging out with us. I really do. This is we're going to do this every day at 11. Let me get back to Clay Crowder's presentation real quick here. There is three words that he said in this. I had to count them in my head right there. Three words that he has in this presentation is the law of scarcity. Can you imagine? I want you to think about this right now. There are auction tags that are sitting there, auction tags, not non-auction auction tags that have already been allocated for this season. It's a 2-year cycle that the commission talks about how we're going to allocate the tags, who gets the tags, and it's 2 years. So we're still in the middle of that with a lot of tags left over to auction off. Now, think about this. The group, and it's a small group. There's a small group that buys these tags. I believe there are 5 hunters that represent, I think, 20% of the tags purchased for elk or deer. I forget which one. It's crazy. But you understand that group isn't going anywhere until they're gone. But now that group knows what? This is the last time that they're just going to get to drop their bag of cash in there and make sure that they're the one that gets the tag. They'll have to get in line. They'll have to be a part of the raffle, or if they want to be or not. So tell me this. You think about your friends, and just say your friends, we all just won the lottery. We all have a bunch of money. Everybody's going to go after these tags. And that's kind of what we did. It's kind of our thing, right? And you know now, and you tell your buddies, by the way, this is the last one. This is the last sheep tag. This is the last mule deer tag. This is the last elk tag in Arizona that can be auctioned that we know that we can just go get. This might be the last time we get to hunt big, giant elk, mule deer, and sheep in the state of Arizona. Can you imagine? My money would be on the fact that these auction tags, these last auction tags, are going to go for a tremendous amount of money. I think we're going to be setting records. I do. I don't think they're going to take their money and go somewhere else, because now it's think about the type of person that buys these tags. The type of person that buys these tags, they like to whip out the bank account and measure. They do. They like to flaunt their stuff. They're the ones posting on social media their new Lambo and their new this and that, and my office for the day, and it's somewhere in Greece or something like that. They're those people. They like to show off. And God love them. God bless them for being able to do so. God love them. God bless them for working their tuchus off their entire life, making the right move, taking the risk, and having this kind of money. God bless you. But this ego is, I had the last one. In the group, not only do I have a commission elk tag, I have the last Arizona mule deer auction tag. I have the last Arizona elk auction tag. I have the last Arizona big sheep auction tag. Woo-hoo-hoo! Let me tell you, I'm putting my money on it's gonna be something. Oh, and one of the potential downfalls too that I'm really bummed out about. Some people show up to these banquets where they auction these things off just to see this auction. I did disagree with the commissioner a little bit on our conversation when he said that, oh yeah, so after the first bid is $200,000 on an elk tag, everybody just kind of stands up and moves to the bar. No, actually, a lot of people showed up just to see what this will do. That gets them a little excited, like, woohoo, starting at 200. Let's go. At least I am. I think it's fantastic. And my auctioneering skills, by the way, not good. No, not good. They're not. I have to auction things off at Wildlife for Tomorrow banquets. They've just deemed it so. They said, here you go, buddy. You're going to do it. I remember I'm very proud. It was the first thing I had to live auction was a quail hunt with Rosie Romero and Larry Voiles, the former director of Arizona Game and Fish. It was just a quail hunt. And I remember Rosie coming up to me, he said, Cowboy, get about $500 for this, $600 for this. It isn't going to be, we just put this together. It was just an idea. I got over 300. I got over $3,000 for it. Almost at 300 grand. I got $3,000 for it. That's right. Oh, it's terrible. Oh my gosh. I'm not even going to try the auction. I don't know. Give me some comments if you want to hear my auctioneering skills. It ain't that great. Thanks for being here. This is the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of world that we live in. I want to thank you for being here today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to do this every weekday at 11 o'clock. So thanks for playing around. And we're going to have the podcast uploaded right after the show as well. We're going to, so you can find that on Spotify. You can find that on YouTube, and it's going to be everywhere. So if you miss anything, check it out. Commissioner Guggenheim and I had the discussion about these tags on Saturday morning. If you want to see it, you can just find it on YouTube, find it on the podcast as well. One thing we brought up was the Jimmy John hunt. The Jimmy John hunt. This was a record elk. It's just an amazing elk. It was stunning. Absolutely stunning. The mass on this thing. The guides couldn't get their hand around the horns, the rack at any time. So here's what the commissioner said. Commissioner said, and we go back to the tape on this, I'm going to paraphrase. So the commissioner said it was a 1,000-yard shot, and he just lobbed several rounds at this elk, and there wasn't really hunting involved, and there was dozens of people sitting around. It wasn't really a hunt. The commissioner has been challenged, at least on my, through my friend group. They're going off on me on text and email. No, that's not what happened. That's what happened. So what I did, this is what we do here. We don't just listen to people that are upset. We don't just read headlines. We actually dig in and find out. So this morning, I sat down and watched the Jimmy John hunting video. So here's my takeaway from it. This is just me. This is me, Mike Russell, your humble host. Okay. But I'm going to shoot it to you straight. I'm not going to dance around. I don't have a dog in this hunt. I don't. Jimmy John took a legal animal. Fine. I'm good with it. Here, it's plain and simple. He did everything legally. Done. Cool. Again, so this is what I see is it comes down to optics. The only thing that I disagree on with this hunt, I disagree with the length of shot. It was 960-yard shot. Look, I understand people take those shots. I completely understand people take those shots. I wouldn't. And any way would I. I'm not going over 300 yards. I know my limits, and I'm not out here to hurt animals. I'm not out here. And by the way, I'm going to be very straight with you. I hate tracking. I hate it. Oh my gosh, I hate it. I hate it as much as sitting and glassing. So I want to make sure that I have a good shot. I put the animal down. It's done. It's over. I'm not, bouncing all around, chasing a wounded animal. 960-yard shot is wild. Now, in that, something that wasn't mentioned, Jimmy John 10-ring this thing. I mean, you hear the shot and you're waiting to watch and see it hit. That's how far away it is. Boom. And then you wait, is it going to hit? Then you see where it hits the first shot. Perfect. It was a beautiful shot. And so I'm going to tell you right now, I couldn't have done that. Not at all. And that has nothing to do with my projectile dysfunction. It has to do with I don't take 1,000-yard shots. It was a perfect shot. The animal was the elk was hurt. The animal was going down. And so Jimmy John did an ethical thing. He took a second shot. Now, this is where it was a crappy shot because it's 1,000 yards away. So I'm almost counting this as a neutral when we're talking about ethics. Ethically, he was trying to get the animal to expire. and he was doing what he thought was the right thing. But then again, on the other side, it's another 960-yard shot. But then again, he 10-ringed the first one. What would make it think he wasn't going to do it this time? It was a garbage shot. It was a garbage shot. I believe the animal was going down. The animal was on a slope, on a hill. Obviously wasn't feeling good, looking for a spot to just kind of mosey down the hill in the right spot. The animal was going down. Didn't need the second shot. The second shot was, I think, did nothing to add towards the expiration of the animal. So I think that's a problem. Here's where we have a problem is when he shows up to the actual animal and gets there. There are darn near like 24 people there. 24 people. So I'm going to back up and tell you why this is an issue. I don't think it's an issue to get rid of auction tags, but I mean, here we go. The person that submitted the video, that launched the video, is over 300,000 something views. It's absurd on YouTube. I mean, you can go watch it. But he had this elk on his trail camera. He had this elk. He saw this elk all the time. He knew what the change in shape and size and mass was from the year prior. I mean, he'd been watching that. They heard about the Jimmy John tags, like, okay, hey guys, I got one. And they literally walked out that morning, saw that exact elk across the canyon, and they're like, okay, here we go. So instead of trying to close the gap, they didn't try to close the gap. They just stayed where they were and took that very long shot. So then some would say, well, that's not hunting. Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you because you have your view of what hunting is. I have mine. Bill has his, Tim has his, Steve has his, Carrie has hers. Like, everybody has their own view of what real ethical hunting is. Okay, cool. Some would say this is not. And the optics for the non-hunters out there that make the most noise fund opposition legislation, if you know what I mean. They look at this and say, there's 20 people there. He didn't hunt this. It was a team effort. What in the world? There's no way. This wasn't hunting. This was unethical. Ha. So what this comes down to, side of that second shot, for me, it comes down to optics. And the optics aren't good with that video. The optics are not good. A lot of people probably right now saying, who cares, Mike? Who cares about them? Those bleeding hearts and those woke people. And, okay, here's the problem. We are not in the hunting business. We're not in the camping business. We're not in the fishing business. We're in the winning hearts and minds business. Because if we continue to lose hearts and minds in what we do, and we aren't cognizant of the potential downfalls of not winning hearts and minds, the North American model goes to squat. We don't have any backfill of hunters. We don't have any backfill of those that are contributing to Pittman Robertson funds. We have no backfill. So we do have to be cognizant. Am I upset with Jimmy John? Not one little tiny bit. Am I upset about that hunt? No, because it was legal. Everything was done legally. I don't know how many people those 20 people that were hanging out, I don't know what they were doing, if they were on a drive, I have no idea what they were doing. So I can't judge. All I know is that Jimmy John bought a tag, a legal tag, and he took a shot. It was way far away, and 3 times the distance of what I would feel comfortable shooting, or what I would tell anyone in my party or anyone in my group that I would feel comfortable shooting. And I took a garbage second shot, and then all these people popped up. That's bad optics. It is. It's as bad as like a really violent, bloody grip and grin picture. It's not winning hearts and minds. It's just not. I'm a grip and grin guy. I mean, I look at my kid's phone. I mean, there's me and him with a bison. I mean, my kid, when he calls, it's me and him with a bison. I have no problem with the grip and grins. I love them. We just need to be cognizant, because I was told this morning, there's no room for error. We don't have much wiggle room. We don't have much wiggle room in this fight. And it's a battle. We'll talk about the NRA tomorrow. Because I am a lifetime member of the NRA. But people, NRA this, NRA that. Okay, we'll talk about it. And then I hear, oh, what are you speaking out against grip and grins? We should be proud of our sport and proud of what we do. We should be, and we are. Absolutely. We are. But we are in a battle against PETA, Humane Society of the United States, young legislators that have never even been outdoors in their whole life and are absolutely appalled at the thought of us going out and killing something, which we would say harvesting, because we're, again, trying to win hearts and minds here. Of course, they're saying that while they're chomping on a Whopper. I totally get it. I totally understand. I know the hypocrisy there. And it's frustrating. It's challenging. It is there is potential for us to lose a lot of our way of life because of this, because we're not paying attention to optics. And once we start paying attention to optics, that's when we start winning the game. But it takes a pain in the butt change to make. And it's a pain that we even have to talk about it. It's a pain that we have to look deep into legislation to make sure that HSUS didn't put a ban on everything in it. And it's a pain that we have to watch legislators just to defend our very natural way of life, knowing that we are the frontline conservationists in this nation. We fund conservation in this nation. We know that, yet it's a pain that we have to still go fight. But we're here. So we have to. We have no options. So it's just like the WCOs and the commission. Right now, they don't like each other. So doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And it's totally lame that we have to have this discussion. It's totally lame that we have to have this fight. But you know what? Here we are. And it is the state of things. We have to find a way and move on. It's again, totally lame that we have to monitor, kind of, police our own grip and grins, things like that. But we have to. Here we are. We can do this. If y'all know me from my years on radio in the Valley, I am a American apologist. I love this country. I love we the people. We can do anything. How many times have we, as we the people here in the United States, have been just steamrolled, sucker punched, jacked up? We always prevail. We always figure out a way. And this is what we need to do here. We need to figure out a way to make up those funds that were coming from the super rich people. And we just have to do it. And we have to do it together. We have to bring ideas to the forefront. We have to get those ideas in front of people that can make these decisions. We are dealing with lawyers and government. So it's going to have to be pretty buttoned up and audible ready, I would say. The people are going to have to say, okay, here's my idea, or a group is going to say, here's my idea. They're going to have to be able to make change in that idea because, again, we're dealing with government and we're dealing with lawyers. So I think we know where we're at, and I hope we know where we're at. And I want you to, by the way, go check out that Jimmy John video. It's all good. Just go ahead. It's not bad, but you'll see that first shot. And if you're a hunter or if you're in the shooting sports at all, your chin will be on the floor. I did not expect that. I didn't see it. I thought there's no way he's hitting this thing. I thought I was going to see them, but you see right where that shot is placed, and it's beautiful. It really, really, truly is. Oh, and by the way, Jimmy John in the shark video where this is Jimmy John jumping on a shark or something like that. That's not him. The internet. Thanks to the internet. Let's do this again tomorrow, shall we? Tomorrow at 11 a.m. right here on The Go Show. Remember, the podcast is going to be up and in just moments. And if you missed anything, the video on YouTube as well and Facebook. Thank you all for hanging out. We'll do this again tomorrow. We'll see you at 11 o'clock right here on The Go Show.